first mayor debate, hosted by MCN for the mayor of MC101. Today, our moderator will be DJ Philly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first mayoral debate for MC101. Here we have our 4 contestants right here, and I will go over some rules and regulations for the debate so that we can get started. We will ask each candidate to answer the mayoral questions going left to right. Each candidate will have a maximum of 2 minutes to answer each question. However, you may take as long as you want, as long as it doesn't go over the limit. After the moderator's questions, the audience will be allowed to ask questions to the candidates following the previous rules stated. Since we have a big number of members running, candidates are asked to be respectful and not to interrupt other candidates while they're talking. Also, audience members are asked to please silence your electronic devices, and no weapons are allowed in your hands while the debate is running. Okay, so let's get this debate started. So, for our first question here, what are your plans for our server and for the town? So we will go over to Neon Rainbow here, and you may answer the question.
My plans for the server in the future is to continue to keep on making fabulous builds that make the environment look a lot better and different. We want varied and different kinds of builds that show off our different talents and abilities in the world. And I also have a goal of just making everything look overall look very nice, because as we can see, sometimes there are creeper holes or other things around the town, and my goal is that we fix those and make sure that everything is very organized, yet still fun.
And now we will go over to Neon Waffles to see what he says.
Okay, DJ Philly, what I plan for the town is to have more builds that are beautiful and more builds that provide us resources to make building easier. So that means more farms to get more resources. As Neon Rainbow said, I would like for less creeper holes and for the town to have just a nicer vibe. And then I plan to make the nether more safe, as I've been working on lately making a nether hub and making a easier access to the nether.
Awesome, and now we will go over to Rage Monkey.
Oh, I have many plans for the future of this town, and, well, they've taken a lot of my ideas, as making this town more beautiful and more amazing is one of the most high priorities of this very server. And I would like to make this town just amazing with more builds, and as Nine Waffles said, more of builds to help out with resources and things like that. And I want to make sure that buildings don't get hurt in this process. So I want to make sure that no creepers go and blow up somebody's house, and if they do, resources will be provided to help these people rebuild their houses. Because in an incident earlier in this realm, I had my whole entire house destroyed by a wither, and I know how that feels. So I want to make sure that no more houses or buildings are damaged.
Sweet, and finally we'll go over to Bob.
Yes, thank you, DJ Philly. Yes, so, for the server, I'd like to, well, first off, the pathways, they're really outdated. We've just had that for so long, and they keep getting blown up by creepers. We need to solve that problem first off with Creeper Protection Agency. There's just too many creepers on the server. So first off, we definitely need to light up the areas around spawn, and we also need better pathways. We need to fix all those creeper holes. And I think combined with that all together, everything around spawn and everything just in general on this server will just become that much better.
Awesome. Okay. So we will go over to our second question here. And the second question is, how can you solve the issues of rampaging withers around town center, like Rage Monkey said, and the random raid attacks at our public farms? And we'll go over to Neon Rainbow.
Well, you see, so with things like wither attacks and other things like that, those kinds of attacks can be controlled. And if we make sure to be careful with what kinds of blocks we're placing to make sure we don't create anything like that, that's a good way to prevent anything like that happening. But if anything like that is created or there's rampages or raids, I feel like we should have a overall sort of emergency sort of get together of anyone who's available should get on a line and have a plan of how to help everyone if it's an immediate danger to the town and society.
Okay, now Mr. Waffles.
So you see, DJ Philly, what I plan to stop Rampaging Withers is we have a wither cage made out of bedrock, as the bedrock piece in front of me, that we got from a bedrock farm. This can stop the withers from escaping and getting out from the city, and also it's plenty enough far away so that if the wither escapes, it won't get to our city. And now to stop the random raids from the villages, we should install a chest with buckets of milk in front of the portal to the farm district so that you can always get rid of the raid effect. So when you enter the industrial district, you won't cause a raid.
Awesome, and now Mr. Rage Monkey.
See, all these problems that happen with withers or raids, they're mostly human error, and that is not a bad thing, as I have started a raid or two myself by complete accident. But we should have a sort of system in place to make sure that nobody places a wither inside of a populated area or takes a raid into the village district. And I think that the idea of Nyan Waffles is a very great idea, having chests outside with milk buckets. And like I said, just everybody should just try not to bring a raid into a village or place a wither out next to houses.
Okay, and Bob.
Yeah, so, with the first off with the withers, I've actually already solved this problem with the help of Sheepmaster prior to the season. I realized this was an issue, so me along with Sheepmaster, main reason we got Bedrock was to actually create a wither chamber so as a wither could be protected, or I should say not protected, but it could be encased so that it can't destroy anything else around it. And then with the raid issue, I think what we need to do is that outside all the portals or around the area, we need to have these automated milk machines where it'll also not only fill up a milk bucket, but it'll also then give you a milk bucket, and then you're able to place it back in the system for someone to be able to use then later.
Okay. So, our third question is, what services will you be able to give to the people if you become mayor? And we'll go over to Neon.
Well, services that I believe I'd be able to provide for the society as a whole is one, being able to clean up a lot of the areas when there becomes problems such as creepers blowing up or anything like that. I will take on the full responsibility of making sure to fill in all of those creeper holes by the end of the day. And another service I believe I could provide is making sure that all builds are kept safe, and if anything happens to any builds, then reparations will be provided. And if anything wrongful was done, like if it was done by a person, then I believe we would be able to figure out the correct sort of punishment to give to that person if they caused any harm to the society as a whole.
Okay, and Mr. Waffles?
So, you see, some services that I think I'd be able to provide are an emergency fund service. This might call for a little tax, but if we have a breakout of a wither, say, we will be able to rebuild quickly because of the funds left behind so that we are able to fix everything that happened. Another service that I think I would be able to provide is better pathing systems. We can get detailed and better looking paths. And then also, lastly, I think I could provide quicker transportation in the nether with soul sand for soul speed boots and then ice bucket roads.
Okay, and Mr. Rage Monkey?
Well, to help out the server and any services that I can is I want to make a building that will hold items specific to any builds or houses specific to people that built them, and they will have all the fundamentals of their builds so that if a creeper or a wither destroys their home, they can go to this building and they can grab all the resources that they made their building out of and repair it very easily. And I think it would be nice if I could help out and just, if I see any holes, creeper holes, just clean it up.
Okay, and Bob?
Yes, and if I were elected, the first thing that I'd enact immediately would be the CPA, the Creeper Protection Agency, because as of now, creepers are running rampant in this village and area. I mean, you can't go out anywhere without seeing one or running into one. I mean, basically almost every day I have a creeper explode on me because I just don't see it coming because they're always right behind you. So I'd immediately start this up so that we could start cracking down on this issue on the village and everywhere else in the world that we're having this problem.
Okay, you guys have some amazing answers. For the next 3 questions, we've actually had our members submit some questions that they want asked. So this first one comes from Tall Lego Box, and it is, will you appoint a right-hand man, and if so, have you decided who? So we'll go over to Neon Rainbow.
So I believe that having a right-hand man, I believe that would be a good idea if, in case anything happens to the town that the mayor can't be there for, then the right-hand man has the right to stand up to help out with that. And I also believe that in case anything happens, if the mayor becomes corrupt or anything like that, the vice president and right-hand man should be able to either take charge or try to administrate what, like, the ideals of the mayor. And I have not chosen who yet if I get elected, because I'd like to figure out just what, like, people who ideals may be slightly different than mine to have a separate opinion.
Okay, and Nyan Waffles?
A right-hand man seems like a very smart idea to have. A right-hand man, I would most likely elect would be someone who has courage to stand up and give their opinion and feels for the people of the Minecraft community. And I think that just having someone to the side of the mayor is very smart to get a second opinion, and so that they can help improve the town and help the mayor improve their thoughts and ideas.
Okay, and Rage Monkey? Mr. Rage Monkey, are you there?
Sorry, I was muted. I definitely agree with having a right-hand man because, like Neon Rainbow said, and Nyan Waffle said, they're great to have just in case, the mayor gets corrupt or the mayor somehow has to leave, and the right-hand man can take their stay for a while, or they can have a second opinion. and it would just be great overall because he can help you out if, say, you're off the server, or the mayor is off the server, then the right-hand man could be in charge in case something really astronomical happens. And if I were to elect a right-hand man, he would be someone who would have his own voice, and he would definitely know what he was doing. He or she would have to be courageous. They would have to be honest, definitely very honest, and just a good person overall.
Okay, and finally, Bob.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I've actually put some thought prior to this question on vice president or yeah, CEO or someone, and I've actually come to the decision that I think Tall Lego Box, at least for me, would be the best candidate. And I haven't actually told him this yet, so he's really excited back there, clearly. Um, but I think he'd just be the great VP, and I think he'd do really good if I wasn't there able to control a situation or help out with something. I think he'd be the best person for it.
Okay, that's absolutely awesome. So the next question was actually submitted by Sheepmaster, and it is: if someone on the server destroys another member's house with TNT without permission, what are you going to do about it? So we'll go over to Neon Rainbow.
Okay, so if any sort of property gets demolished by another person on the server without permission, I feel like the best way to go with that is to create a sort of judicial system where it's not just one person like the mayor or the right-hand man deciding the punishment. I feel that the society as a whole needs to make a decision of what a rightful punishment is for that kind of action. Because it varies on different levels of intent. If it was on accident or somehow they did not mean to, then that would be a lot different of a punishment than if it was for the main purpose of griefing someone's property. So I believe that there will be a meeting of a jury and to decide how to react to that kind of situation.
Okay, and Mr. Waffles?
You see, I agree with Neon Rainbow that the community should decide what should happen to this person. I feel that having a court system would be very smart, and having rules over the court system, such as no excessive punishment. And in realms before, this court system has worked wonders on some cases, and it would be a good way to decide what should happen.
Okay, and Rage Monkey?
I also agree with both of the candidates that have been speaking. A system like that would be wonderful, that the people could decide the punishment, and like he said, like Nyan Waffle said, there shouldn't be over punishment. But I'm also thinking of an idea of I would have to get the people's opinion if I were mayor, I would appoint a chief of police or somebody to be always there, and he or she would always be able to go and crack down on the case of, say, a destroyed building or missing objects.
Okay, and Bob?
Yes, I'd like to also agree with the past three candidates, and I'm gonna build off what Rage Monkey sort of said there right at the very end with the chief of police. And if I were elected, I don't think I'd have one. I believe that I just have my VP also be sort of the chief of police. Also, I feel like if we were both there to really sort of be maybe like judges, or maybe he would just be the judge or something along those lines, I think that it'd really like work along that much better instead of having a third position and just getting everything a bit more confusing.
Awesome. Okay, so for our final submitted question, this actually comes from, okay, it says unknown source, and it is a hot dog a sandwich? Yeah, okay. tall Lego box is
Yes, I'd
giving
like to
me a
agree over
boost.
here. That yes, a hot dog is in fact a sandwich. I just like to address this issue before we move on. That hot dogs are in fact sandwiches. If you break the bun in half, you have one piece of bread, another piece of bread, and what do you have in the middle? It's meat. So, I'd like to clarify that if no one else is gonna speak up about it.
Okay,
A
okay.
hot dog with its buns connected is actually a sub. So, as in some restaurants serve subs with two pieces of bread connected together with meat in between.
Okay, I don't know how this question got in, but
I
yes.
I am very
I
passionate
think-
about this subject, as you can tell.
I definitely think that a hot dog is in its own genre. A hot dog is different from a sandwich or a sub just because it's just a different meat and it's just totally different from a sandwich or a sub.
Okay, and Neon Rainbow, do you have anything to say about this?
I've actually discussed this topic with other members here, and I would have to agree with Nine Waffles that a hot dog is a form of a sandwich, and it is closer to the sub form of a sandwich because when you get a sub, both sides of the bread are connected, therefore making it a lot like a hot dog bun. And just like any other sub, there's meat in the middle with either condiments or anything like that.
Okay, so that was a very interesting question, but a very debatable one indeed. So, now we will take a short recess from debate and we will come right back after our recess. Okay, so now that we've came back from our short, interesting recess, we will actually be reversing the order here. So Bob will go first and Neon Rainbow will go last. So the next question up for our fellow candidates is, let's see here. Will you set up a law enforcement agency or some type of law enforcement? Okay, and we'll go over to Bob.
Yes, I'd like to set up a sort of, at least some kind of judicial system. At very least that. I don't know about a law enforcement system, because that seems a bit harsh. I feel like we should, as a community, should hold someone accountable, not just one individual group or person. That's just basically what I have to say on that topic.
Okay, and Rage Monkey.
I think that I think that what I would put in is just the chief of police, and he would technically be the only policeman, but the mayor and the second-hand man would have power over this chief of police. So if he were to say do something wrong, he would also go to court just the same as anybody else would. And he couldn't have too much power to where he could do things wrong over and then just get away with it.
Okay, and Mr. Waffles?
I agree with Bob here. Setting up a judicial system seems like a smart idea so that we can have decisions based on what people do. Then I think I would elect my right hand man also as a form of police officer to enforce rules. And then I would also, if we want to try to pass laws, first the judicial system comes up with it, uh, brings it to me, and then I bring it to the community, and it's a vote.
Okay, and finally, Neon Rainbow.
Well, as I previously stated, I would set up a judicial system and some sort of law enforcement, but I also believe that there should be one or two single people who would be set as like police or law enforcement. But I actually think that the law enforcement should be separate from the mayor and the right hand man because they can be punished also, the police. But I also believe that if the mayor and right hand man have power over the law enforcement people, then that could give a chance for the mayor to take charge and become overpowerful because they have control over the law. They have control over everything, including the law enforcement. So the law enforcement should be able to go against the mayor if they believe the mayor has done something wrong. So that's what I believe.
Okay, and so for our next question, we'll go over to Bob here, and it is, do you have any building designs or plans for the town?
Yes, I do. I'd like to build something. Of course, I know we already have a town hall, but I think we might need. Maybe we want to stick in a courthouse, or I don't know. Maybe we're gonna stick on something onto the town hall, sort of like a courthouse. I think we need something along these lines so that we can better hold each other accountable. So the judge actually has a place to judge, of course, and we can actually then have a place that we can hold maybe meetings in there, or maybe that'll be in the town hall, so we can renovate that to look more like a meeting area, so we could all meet together as a group, and just overall something around that area to really build up the government ish better.
Okay, and Mr. Rage Monkey?
So my first idea is to go off of Bob's idea here and have the courthouse or inside the actual mayor building outside. So if we can, I think that top room is available, so we could renovate that top room to have a judge podium and seating arrangements for anything that comes to hand in case of hurt of building or anything else. And my other idea is obviously to have the building that I was talking about to, in case a building or something gets hurt, they will have specific blocks to the certain people to help them fix their buildings.
Okay, and Mr. Waffles?
You see, I would build a courthouse so that we can have judging and juries and have nice legal cases. Then I also would plan to have a community center where all resources from farms are put into one building so that you have people are able to access these resources easily. Another thing that I'd want to be built is probably a police slash detective building for with a small jail just in case. And then lastly, I would want a postal office so if people are offline of the world, you can still have items be given to them in a neat fashion.
Okay, and finally, Neon Rainbow.
So my plans for buildings in the future, we have the fundamental buildings and then we have creative ones. So the fundamentals, like all the other candidates have said, I would want to build some sort of form of courthouse where decisions can be made. But I also feel that, for me personally, what I would do as mayor is, instead of making a separate police area near the courthouse, there would be a sort of holding cell area attached, because sometimes those who have to go to trial or to court can sometimes get a bit violent and sometimes people can try to escape or stop. So if the person on trial becomes over violent or threatens people, they can be put in the holding cell to be put on trial instead. I also feel like there should be like a lot more original creative builds, not just ones that are useful, just ones for fun. Like, I'm continuing to build my rainbow tower, and I feel like many other builds like that don't have any specific purpose but just show creativity and originality should be built within the town.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so I know for the next question, I know some of you have hit on this, and it looks like our producers have given us a note here, and it actually says, Bob, they actually want you to remove the honey, if possible. So one of our main producers is coming over here.
This is quite unprofessional producers, I must say. I feel like a man should be able to choose his chair on his own free will, according to the Constitution, and I just feel like unconstitutional to ask a man to change his chair just because it doesn't look quite as nice.
Well, we don't exactly have a mayor yet, so there is no constitution. So anyway, for our next question, as you know, a road system is in place in our town, but it does not go to every house and building. Are you going to continue this project if you become mayor? So we'll go over to Bob.
Yes, I'd like to do this. At least I'd like to create a little road system. Maybe not going to every single building. Maybe it'll be like separate roads that lead to other separate roads. It won't be one big road that goes to everywhere. But then I'm also building on this road. I like to build something unique and something special. Instead of just having a regular old road, I'd like to build a way so that we can stick maybe some ice or maybe some soul sand underneath, or soul soil, so that we could better run along these roads so it's more practical and reasonable to actually use them.
Okay, and Rage Monkey.
So, I would like to not just put roads to every person's house, but to actually get permission from the people around us for if we can put the roads in place. And like Bob said, I don't think it should go to every single house, because there are some bases that are just hundreds and hundreds of blocks away that it just wouldn't be the greatest idea to put a road there. And instead, we can make another portal connecting to each of the different places. But it's all, it all has to be approved by them first. We don't want to intrude in their space. And also, I would like to instead try to employ somebody else. Now, if nobody else will do it, of course, I will do it myself. But I would like to give a way for other people to be able to do jobs for like something like cleaning up the town or making new roads that they feel would look really great. And it will all be supervised by the mayor and his right-hand man.
Okay, and Nyan Waffles.
I think that we should continue the road project but revise it and make a sleek, unique, and creative design of road and make it as functional and as quick as possible. I believe that we should ask people for permission to build roads to their houses, and they can put in requests to get roads built to certain places. And I feel that the road design could change based on whose house you're going to make it fit in with their house better, because you wouldn't want a modern road going to a old house. So that is what I believe.
Okay, and Neon Rainbow.
I agree with a lot of the previously said statements, such as the fact that I believe that roads should be made to all houses and buildings if the designer chooses to have those. If we shouldn't have to force roads, like people to use roads if they don't want to. And I feel that it's more of just a decorative thing. So if people want to use them, they can make them more functional if they want. But if other people decide that they just want it for design purpose or anything like that, then they are free to do with it they want. I want like a coherent road system that looks nice and makes sense. We can have changes of style, but I feel that the change of style from different roads should be a coherent change that makes sense instead of many like different blocks all stuck together.
Okay, that's awesome. So it looks like our producer has given us more notes for some reason. He says, thank our sponsor, who is MC News Station. Thank you, MC, for sponsoring this awesome debate and these lovely debaters right here. So, for our next question here, why do you want to become mayor of MC101? And we'll go over to Bob.
I'd like to become mayor of MC101 because I feel that our server right now, it needs a leader. It needs someone that can show other people what needs to be done or take the actions to do what needs to be done. For instance, the Creeper Protection Agency, I feel, well, otherwise, I don't think anybody would actually ever do anything about it. I mean, so far, what are we, like a couple months into this server so far, and yet still nothing's being done about these creepers. And I feel that if I became mayor, or the reason I wanted to become mayor was just because I felt like I needed to be able to do something, and maybe I could lead other people to do something too.
Okay, and your opinion, Rage Monkey.
I believe there should be a mayor, and that is reasoning because right now it's kind of chaotic. People flying around, hurting others randomly. I mean, sure, it's all good fun, but once it comes down to buildings getting destroyed or stuff being lost, then it just gets out of hand. And we need a leader to show how it's done and to help give a more of a just a better way to do things.
Okay, and Mr. Waffles. Mr. Waffles, is your mic working?
Hello. Okay. So, could you repeat the question, please?
Okay, why do you want to become mayor?
I would like to become mayor because my love for this city is unbreakable, like this bedrock. And I want the city to be improved as much as possible, and so that we can have a fun Minecraft and to be able to get amazing builds and to be able to get good content for our viewers.
Okay, and Neon Rainbow.
I feel that this server, while it's not perfect, I feel that it's already on a great start and that everyone's using their creativity and originality. And I would like to become mayor because I would like to help out the environment and the economy just look its best. The town needs direction, and while I'm not going to input my opinion into everything because everyone deserves to have their freedom of choice of what they want to do with their areas and stuff, I do believe that a strong leader could show an overall direction and help everyone stay, I guess, part of, like, stay within the rule system and make sure that everyone is being nice to one another and not purposefully harming other people, like, or buildings or items, unless it's all in good fun, which is sometimes okay to have.
Okay, so for our final question of the debate, it's a pretty simple question, and it is, why should the voters choose you? We'll go over to Bob.
Yes, thank you, DJ Philly. I'd say the main reason, voters need to choose me is just because I feel like I'm the most, pardon my, poor English skills right here, but the best word I could think of at the moment was best, so, fortunate. Oh well, but, I just think, the viewers' best option is me, who I think is just able to take action when need be and just make the right decisions all around the server. And the most important, I should say, is the Creeper Protection Agency, which we definitely need to capitalize on. And yet, I've heard nothing from the other candidates really about this creeper problem. And yet, it's so rampant that literally, I mean, almost every single episode of MC you watch, you might or most likely see a creeper either almost blow someone up or do blow something up. I mean, it's just such a problem that I guess no one else is addressing, which is why I think the voters need to vote and choose me because I'm the one who's actually gonna address this problem.
Okay, and Rage Monkey.
I think the voters should choose me because I would give a leading role, and I would give a chief of police and put in a place of court, and obviously my right hand man. So together, me and my right hand man would be able to, well, just to keep care of the server, and I still want to capitalize on the idea of me making sure that nobody ever doesn't have enough resources to replace their homes, because it is just such a problem and it just really sucks to get your house blown up, and I would just like to fix that.
Okay, Nyan Waffles.
I think that voters should choose me because I can bring the most improvement to this town. I stay fairly active out of all the recipients, and I don't obsess on one idea as Bob does. I would be willing to take on challenges and to bring the community to its highest.
Okay, and Neon Rainbow.
My reasoning behind why voters should vote for me is that I consider myself to be a very passive and peaceful person. I get along with most people on the server, and I want to make sure to bring unity to everyone. I wouldn't bring much of a biased opinion to a lot of things, and I want to keep the environment as safe and great as it can be. I also feel that that I am a very creative and original person, so keeping everything like that going, I feel that we're able to make the server look beautiful, even more beautiful than it already is, and just create whatever our mind's limits have.
Okay, awesome. This has been an absolutely lovely debate. I want to thank each and every one of you for such an awesome debate, and of course, our sponsors, Master Crafters News, which is a newly established uh, facility here on MC101. And of course, I want to thank you guys, the viewers, for watching this debate. So go out there and vote for your favorite candidate to be nominated for the mayor position of MC101. And again, thank you guys for watching.